No better place to start than the mighty Range Rover. Well, not so mighty. Takes a lot to keep this particular car on the road. Pushing $100,000, big money new. But once they're out of warranty or getting close to warranty, they're worth a lot less than that. The Range Rover with its air suspension, it has great off-road ability, but it doesn't have the reliability and durability of a coil sprung system. Parts are extremely expensive. Everything's very technical, especially in the last 10 to 20 years. You need a technician to come out to the bush if you've got any problems. So that is a problem. It's really like a pair of stilettos or a pair of high heels. It's not really that functional, but women are prepared to throw functionality out the window for form, and that pretty much sums up number 5 on the list. It's going to be great to drive, great to own for the first three to 5 years, but once it's out of service plan, the next person advised that if anything goes wrong, it can get very, very pricey. So if you've got deep pockets, get the Range Rover. You'll love it. In years gone by, in '64, I think a car with the highest mileage ever, with sort of 3 million Ks or somewhere to that effect, was a Volvo. In the old days, they were extremely tough and reliable. Always been top of the class for safety and for safety standards, which the new models are, but in terms of reliability, not great. They're always trying to push too much technology, too many sensors, and when those go, the car just sits and you're going nowhere. They look nice, they go nice. It's a trendy, funky company, but it's just not reliable. Resale value is terrible. You can buy a 10-year-old Volvo for like 70,000 rand. You know, you're giving them away, and you're buying into the whole Volvo ethos of being very safe cars, which they are, but in terms of reliability, not the best. The BMW 1 Series from 2004 to 2011 was voted the most unreliable car in the UK by What Car magazine this year, so that's good enough to get it number 3 on the list. The BMW, similar to the Volvo story, they like to push the technology envelope, a lot of electronics, which is good when they're new, but after a period of time, those things eventually need replacing at great expense. It's a real driver's car, but that panache comes at a price. And of course, this is highly subjective. You're going to have your own opinions. This is just my opinion, so don't get too hot under the collar. Number 2, the Chrysler PT Cruiser from 2000 to 2010. They were producing these. This is when Chrysler and Mercedes had their unsuccessful marriage. They weren't on the same page. Chrysler makes a sort of a, you could say, slightly inferior product, and obviously that's not going to roll with the Mercedes. Brass, long term, not very well made, loads of problems, electrical issues, transmission issues, engine issues. When it first came out, it was the talk of the town. It had a sort of retro 1930s Bugsy Malone sort of styling to it, but in terms of the inside, the guts of the car, not exactly quality. Number 1 car you should never buy. Do not buy this for your kid because you think it'll be a good first car, but it's cheap and cheerful. The Chrysler Neon. Every time you ever hear about unreliable cars, this car comes up near the top, and for me it's always stuck in my head. The Chrysler Neon. Things fall off, not great electronics, the worst of American styling. This is sort of from the 90s. It was made 1995 to 2005. The 90s was the worst, arguably the worst time for American car styling. Everything was done on the cheap. The bean counters, the accountants were running the car companies, and the designers were just playing catch up and doing what they could on a tight budget. Thankfully, in more modern times, American cars have raised their game and are making some fantastic cars again. Ford's establishing itself as a premier brand that is making reliable vehicles, but Chrysler is in a state of flux, you could say, which sees 2 of their cars in the top 2 of the lemon list. Not ideal for a company that has brought us some of the best sports cars the world has ever seen. there you go. Tell me what you think. Catch you next time on Africa Sideways. The Renault Scenic in particular is a bit of a downer. I've heard people spending 60, 70,000 rand just on repairs on that vehicle. So the Renault Scenic, special mention, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee since Fiat took over Chrysler. Another money pit. There you go.